He is Neo in The Matrix, the unstoppable assassin in John Wick, and a Hollywood icon whose films have grossed over $6 billion worldwide. His name is Keanu Reeves, but behind that legendary status lies a story not glamorous but devastating. A father who abandoned him at 3, a best friend lost to overdose at 23, a stillborn daughter on Christmas Eve, a girlfriend dead in a car crash 18 months later, and a sister battling blood cancer for a decade. And now at 60, even as the world celebrates him as Hollywood's nicest guy, the shadows of grief still follow him. If Keanu Reeves has ever moved you with his performances or inspired you with his kindness, hit like as a tribute to a man who turned pain into purpose. It is heartbreaking when the beginning of a legend is marked not by wealth or privilege, but by abandonment and chaos. Keanu Charles Reeves was born on September 2, 1964 in Beirut, Lebanon, to Patricia Taylor, a costume designer and showgirl from Essex, England, and Samuel Nowlin Reeves Jr., a geologist of Hawaiian, Chinese, English, and Portuguese descent. His Hawaiian name means cool breeze over the mountains, a poetic irony for a childhood that would be anything but serene. When Keanu was only 3 years old, his father walked out and vanished, leaving a toddler and his mother behind without explanation, without support, and without a second glance. Patricia was alone in a foreign land with 2 small children, Keanu and his younger sister Kim. Born in 1966, she did what she had to do. She packed up their lives and moved first to Sydney, Australia, then to New York City, and finally to Toronto, Canada, searching for stability that never quite arrived. Poverty was merciless. Patricia remarried and divorced, then remarried and divorced again and again. Keanu would grow up with 3 different stepfathers, none of whom stayed. Paul Aaron, a Broadway and Hollywood director, married Patricia in 1970. They divorced a year later. Then came Robert Miller, a rock promoter, another marriage, another divorce. The pattern repeated like a curse. Keanu changed homes like other children changed shoes. He attended 4 different high schools, never staying long enough to put down roots or feel he belonged. School was torture for another reason. Keanu suffered from dyslexia, a learning disorder that made reading and academics a daily battle. Words on the page blurred and twisted. His grades suffered. Teachers grew impatient. Classmates mocked him. He was labeled difficult and rambunctious, even expelled from one school for being too disruptive. But the truth was simpler and sadder. He was a boy adrift, struggling to make sense of letters while his home life crumbled around him. The wound that never healed came not from a teacher or a bully, but from his own father. When Keanu was 13, Samuel Nowlin Reeves Jr. contacted him. It had been 10 years since they had seen each other. Keanu flew to Hawaii, to the island of Kauai, hoping perhaps for reconciliation, for an apology, for something. On their last day together, Keanu would later recall they sat on the veranda and stared at the dark sky. His father hardly said anything that evening. The next day he took them to the airport. Then they did not hear anything from him for 10 years. No calls, no letters, nothing. That silence carved a hollow in Keanu's chest that would never fully close. Years later, when asked about his father, Keanu's voice would crack. "The story with me and my dad is pretty heavy," he confessed. "It is full of pain and woe and loss and all that." His father would later be arrested for possession of cocaine and heroin and sentenced to 10 years in prison. When asked if he wanted to reconnect, Keanu's answer was calm but final. "It is his life, man. I hope he is well, whatever that means." Yet even in that darkness there were glimmers of light. Patricia, despite her own struggles, never stopped believing in her son. She worked tirelessly in the entertainment industry, exposing Keanu to the world of theater and film. And Keanu found solace in 2 places, the ice rink and the stage. He played ice hockey as a goalie, earning the nickname The Wall for his fearless defense. For a time he dreamed of going pro, but at 15 something shifted. He joined a theater production of Damn Yankees, and for the first time he felt alive. Those words became scripture. From that day forward, Keanu knew his path. It is haunting to think how wide the gap was between dream and reality. At 16, Keanu dropped out of high school and moved to Los Angeles with nothing but hope and hunger. He slept on couches, worked odd jobs, and auditioned relentlessly. His first break came in 1984, with a small role in the Canadian television series Hanging In. Then came a Coca-Cola commercial, then a short film. Each step was tiny, insignificant, and forgettable. But Keanu kept going. His agents told him to change his name. They said Keanu was too ethnic, too foreign, too difficult for casting directors to pronounce. For a brief time he went by Casey Reeves or Casey Reeves, erasing part of himself to fit into an industry that did not want him as he was. But eventually he stopped pretending. He went back to Keanu. If they would not accept him, then he would find another way. In 1986, he landed a role in the sports drama Youngblood, playing a hockey goalie, a role that felt like coming home. Then came River's Edge in 1987, a dark crime drama that showcased his range. Critics noticed. Directors noticed. Suddenly, Keanu was no longer just another struggling actor. He was someone worth watching. Then came the role that changed everything. In 1989, Keanu starred as Ted in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, a goofy time-traveling comedy that became a cult classic. Audiences fell in love with his charm, his innocence, and his infectious joy. The film was a massive hit, grossing over $40 million. Keanu, the boy who had been told he was too ethnic, too different, too broken, was now a star. For the first time in his life, he had money. For the first time, he had options. By the early 90s, however, Keanu's career had plateaued. He starred in Point Break and My Own Private Idaho, both critically acclaimed, but neither made him a household name. He was respected and admired, but not quite A-list. And then in 1993 came the darkest moment of his life so far. River Phoenix was more than a friend. He was a brother. The two had met on the set of Parenthood. They bonded instantly, taking motorcycle trips together, attending screenings and talking for hours about life, art, and dreams. In 1991, they co-starred in My Own Private Idaho. On October 31, 1993, River Phoenix died outside the Viper Room from a drug overdose at just 23 years old. Keanu was filming Speed when he got the news. He did not move for a long time. He simply stood there, his face blank, his eyes hollow. In 1998, he met Jennifer Syme at a party thrown for his band Dogstar. She was a production assistant for director David Lynch. Beautiful, creative, and full of life, they fell in love instantly, deeply, and completely. By 1999, Jennifer was pregnant. They named their daughter Ava Archer Syme Reeves. They prepared a nursery and dreamed of the future. On December 24, 1999, 8 months into the pregnancy, Ava was stillborn. She died in the womb just one day before Christmas. Keanu and Jennifer were devastated. They held each other and wept. Several weeks later, their relationship ended. They could not look at each other without seeing the baby they had lost, but they remained friends. They still cared. They still hoped somehow to heal. In early 2001, they began seeing each other again. On April 1, 2001, they had brunch together in San Francisco. Keanu thought maybe they could rebuild. The next morning, Jennifer Syme died in a car crash. She was 28 years old. Keanu stood at her funeral, heartbroken. She was buried next to Ava at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery. In an interview years later, Keanu's voice was quiet, almost distant. "I miss being a part of their lives and them being part of mine." He said, "I wonder what the present would be like if they were here, what we might have done together. I miss all the great things that will never be." Then he added, "Grief changes shape, but it never ends. People have a misconception that you can deal with it and say it is gone and I am better. They are wrong. When the people you love are gone, you are alone." And yet, even in the depths of that loneliness, Keanu did not retreat. He could have disappeared. He could have given up. But he did not, because his sister needed him. In 1991, just before her acting debut, Kim Reeves was diagnosed with leukemia. She was 25 years old. For the next 10 years, she would battle the disease with everything she had. And for every single one of those years, Keanu was by her side. He sold his house and moved closer to her. He cooked her meals, cleaned her home, prepared her medications, and held her hand in hospital rooms. He spent millions of dollars on treatments, therapies, and experimental drugs. He also created a private cancer charity, refusing to attach his name to it. Now at 60, Keanu Reeves stands as a living testament to resilience. His net worth is estimated at $380 million. He has starred in over 70 films, generating a cumulative global box office gross surpassing $6.6 billion. Yet what defines him is not what he owns but what he gives. Please subscribe this channel and wait for my next video. Thank you.